Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Got Bobby Cleveland here, Executive Director of Oklahoma Corrections Professionals, and along with Representative J.J. Humphrey. Representative Humphrey, you look awful nice today. You got that hat on that cow kicked that stomped on.
Yeah, this is my stomp around every day hat, Bob. It's my. I don't mind if I get hit by a cow or if she knocks it off or something. I like that hat. It's comfortable.
Yeah, it's a good hat. Well, JJ, let's get going here.
Got a lot to cover, Bob. We got a whole lot. There's a you know what, Bob? Sometime back, there was somebody kind of mentioned that we were talking about the same thing, but we were having so many deaths and so many rapes and so many, and I just want to congratulate the director. I just want to stop for just a minute because we're always so negative, it sounds like, and I want to congratulate him at the fine job he's done at hiding all those numbers. Bob, if he doesn't do anything good, he does a great job at burying everything and covering up what's actually going on. He is probably the best, being the less transparent that I've ever seen. So he does a great job at hiding how many people are getting stabbed, raped, killed.
And how many people they have.
Yeah, he's pretty good about that. He can hocus pocus, pull the rabbit out of the hat, and call it.
You know what else they do when an inmate's getting transferred? He doesn't know where he's going. The driver's not supposed to say where he's going. Nobody's supposed to. The prisoner's supposed to know, and that's all secret.
Yeah,
he let your family know.
He didn't get the memo. He's working for the Oklahoma Department of Corrections, not the CIA. He thinks. See, he likes to think he's some kind of super spy, or something. I guess I always call him Colonel, but I think he's elevated to General. I don't know, Bob. What do you think? I think it's General. He is. He thinks he's General.
Well, I don't know what he thinks he is.
But Bob, let's start. Bob, as long as I've been around, there's always, every 15, 20 years, some cat, some director, there's always some squirrely director going to try to take guns away from the probation and parole officers, PMP. Okay, every year you get these liberal pukish ideals, and they come in and they're going to take the guns. Generally, they're anti-law enforcement. I've watched this guy. He caters to the inmates, and he says he caters to the inmate. Really, he's the worst thing ever happened to the inmates. But anyways, they've got to move to try to make all the probation officers case managers, is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing they're already doing it, and it ain't even been done for a couple of weeks, and they're already coming out, oh, this is the best thing since sliced bread. You can't tell. They wouldn't know good if they saw it. If we run up and bit them on the butt, they wouldn't know what was good or not good. So here we have him again, coming up back in, assaulting these officers, going after the officers, wanting to take away their weapons. Now, what kind of person would do that, Bob?
Person that doesn't know what he's doing.
Well,
first of all, he's a bully, a little bully. And second of all, you made a mistake when you was talking about something a while ago. The officers, this is what I get, not just from one, not just from two, but from hundreds of officers, feel like the inmates have more rights than they do. And they're afraid to punish an inmate for something he does wrong because
I said that he likes the inmates better than employees, but I said, he wants to act like he's really doing. We change lives. That's all for the inmate. That ain't for the officers. That's for the inmates. We change lives, but that's really a true lie. He's been bad for officers and bad for inmates. Inmates get raped. Inmates get killed. Under this guy, it is a madhouse. It's a zoo.
Well,
we got to change.
We let in the drugs. It's in there. The fentanyl and everything else is bad. We had another death at Joseph Harpe, unattended death.
Well, it's a zoo, Bob. We need to change the name. I tried to change the name to corruption, and nobody wanted to hear that. So maybe we ought to change it to the zoo. The zoo, and he's the head zookeeper.
Well, what else we got in there besides the PMP?
Well, Bob, I tell you, one of the big things that everybody's talking about is he fired a guy named Rudek, James Rudek, good guy. I know James. I've known James.
It was good for PMP.
Here's what's funny, Bob. They just had a survey.
Oh, and 100 people. We got maybe 3,000 employees. They did 100, and they picked out who they wanted to send them to.
Yeah, 100. That's like what, Bob? Is it 1%, 2%?
Probably 2% maybe.
Maybe 2%, but we don't know how many people they actually have working for them. So we can't. We could give you the percentage if we could get a true number of how many employees there are, but who knows? Who knows what that is under this administration? But here's what's funny. Rudek had actually went up to about the third highest guy. He was one of their deputy directors or something.
Well, 37 years, you think he could get up there.
Well, but here's what's funny, Bob. This is about the only guy that's in that administration that everybody likes. Now, I'm going to tell you, when he fired that guy, when he fired Rudek, my phone went to blowing up. People are mad because they liked Rudek. Rudek actually tried to take care of employees.
Right.
So I've reached out and he ain't answered me. I'd like to know what he got fired for, because here's what's funny, Bob. Even people in the administration don't know. I got some people higher up that I talk to, and guess what? They don't know why he got fired. And everybody's speculating. Now, I had a guy come and say, well, they're trying to dismantle Probation Pro, and they're going after Probation Pro officers, which we were just talking about. And he stood up for Probation Pro. Now, that would make sense to me because Probation Pro is kind of his wheelhouse and his baby, and that's where he'd come out of. And I would think he would try to protect it. So,
well, I heard that he called him out on the 80% retention. Harp out on that.
Well, Bob, I've heard so many things. I heard that director asked him to do something he thought was unethical. He wouldn't do it. Any one of those could be a reasonable scenario. But I think the bottom line, none of us know exactly. But
no, we don't. But I think that it gives you a good example of the way he treats people. A guy that's been there 37 years deserves a little respect.
Well, he fired a couple of guys not long from OCI. Super good guys. Both of them good guys. One of them had over 30, I think. Another one had 26 years in. And again, no reason at all. No reason at all. Just walked in and fired them. And again, here's the deal. If you're downsizing, if you're doing something, I get that. But to just go over because you're pissed off or you're trying to cover your stupid tracks, half the stuff he does is his stupidity, and then he fires somebody else to cover up his stupidity, blamed it on somebody else. So
it's amazing how quick they're ready to fire somebody. They don't go by progressive discipline anymore. They just jump right to the very termination.
No, they don't go by anything, any rules or any logic or any.
Well, he claims now that he has the governor and the attorney general in his hip pocket, and it looks like he does have, because we've asked for some things from the attorney general, investigation at DLC on the rapes, on the killings, and he didn't do it.
Bob, I know he's got the governor in his hip pocket, and boy, I got a lot of people. Man, you talk about. I've seen a lot of bad mouthing where you used to didn't see them going after Stitt as much. Boy, here lately, like I read at that press conference I did on covering up that murder, I read that one letter, man. I mean, they were like, Stitt's got blood all over his hands. And I mean, they just after Stitt as hard as they were as a director. So.
Well, I mean, people's been killed in there. He's just as responsible for it as Harpe is.
I agree.
Keep him in there as the director. He's done nothing but ruin DLC. I don't know if it'll take, how long it's going to take to put it back together again. The officers there don't like him. In fact, in that survey, if I recall, that he sent out to 100 people, they didn't like their management, upper management. Well, he's thinking that they don't like the guys around him. He's not thinking that's him. He thinks he's really well liked and he's really a good guy. But that's all his upper guy. That one guy that's what's that? Not Sharp? Not Sharp.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm talking about the tall guy that was a police officer.
Sharp.
Sharp. Okay.
Hey,
I get a lot of complaints on him all the time for being a big bully.
I get complaints on him for just doing whatever they tell him to. Hey, let me read this right here. You know, you remember they call this an on-call. That's the thing he went out and said that I'm a very poor employee. Hey, Director, if you've got that video, I know you saved those. Could you send me a copy of that, please? I need a copy of that. Really, when I sue you, that'll be really nice to have if I got a copy of you sitting up there lying about me and bad-mouthing me. Hey, don't be scared. Don't be scared. Stand up and do everything when you're proud enough to get on video and make a video, share it.
Yeah, he's not scared. He doesn't bother about being sued. He thinks he can. He's got lawyers that they'll pay for it, just like he does everything else. Waste money on appealing every single one of our cases that we win. He appeals it to the next round, just puts it off and appeals because he's got money. It's not his money; it's our money.
He's got tax money. He's
got our money, and he's wasting.
Of course, he got a little money because we're paying him $275 or more. Who knows? But
I'd like to know how he ranks in with the other states.
Oh, he's right up there top. He's top, smallest department, top pay. That's the way he is. Hey, Bob, it says on the director's all-call yesterday, so I got this there to go. He admitted to violence rates going up since November. Well, by damn if they went up, because, Bob, remember we counted up in October.
18 or 17?
17 officers' assaults in October, 15 deaths. I forget whether it's how many assaults. There was 30-something assaults, I think. I can't remember. We put that on a video. Director, I'd be happy to share that video with you if you need a reminder of what we counted up.
Well, he needs some help there because he's not counting all the
assaults. He admitted assaults on staff since January. 7 assaults on staff since January. Bob, do you think there's only been 7 assaults on staff? This person says, I'm sure it's been more than that.
Hey, let's go back. What about the kid, that little 5'5", 135-pound wild inmate they had there that was killed?
What you talking about? I ain't even heard about this.
No, you have to. The guy that the parents called, want to know where he was at. He got a call. They got a call that they'd been killed, and they called the OC to check on it, and they gave him a.
Yeah. That's the inmate. Hey, Bob, quit. Bob, tell your girlfriends, no, not now. Hey, that was inmate Ross, Bob.
Yes. Yeah. Well, how many times they get it on him? Different times.
Yeah. Well, here's what's funny. Here's what I want to tell all y'all on this assaults. Why is your director not filing assaults on inmates when they assault their staff? That's I find unbelievable. You talk about disrespectful. You talk about sorry. That's sorry. But he says assaults on staff 7 since January. We all know that's Bob. In October, we counted 17 in 1 month. You think they just had 7 in about a 2 month right now?
What kind of goes along with the 30% rule?
So I'm sure it's been more than that. He reported that only 100 employees engaged in the survey they sent out, and majority reported they are happy with their direct supervisor, but not their executive staff. He claims he's going to go to visit facilities more and taking notes.
Bob, after 3 years, he's going to do that?
You remember when he came in, Bob? What was it he said that he was going to do when he came?
He's going to go to the prisons. He's going to stay on top of things.
I'm going to go visit all the prisons. Yeah, that was another Harpe lie. He's a liar, man. The guy's lies like nobody. So he's going to go around to all these facilities. I got a big laugh out of that. Take notes from the staff on how to make things better. I tell you, Director, let me just give you the easiest and quickest and best answer. Resign. If you want to make things better, resign. That'll make things much better.
Hey, it's Sparks. It's Sparks that I was talking about.
That's what I just said a while ago, Sparks.
I thought you said Sharp.
Oh, I did say Sharp. You may be right, Bob.
Again.
Yeah, I can't believe that. I think I did. Wow. Okay, you caught me, Bob. You are correct.
Stay focused, JJ. Stay focused.
Sharp, and then this guy's name's Sparks. You are correct.
Yeah.
Bob, you got me all rattled now, and I can't find my spot. So, all right. Also, they mentioned that one of the biggest complaints from staff survey was staff feel like inmates are treated better than them. That's absolutely true. The director claims this year his main focus is staff. That'd be a day. That would be the day. His main focus has been staff. Bob, if I was the staff, I'd be worried. If his main focus is staff, that means y'all ain't going to probably have a job, because that's all he knows to do, staff. If you disagree with him or say something, gone. He knows he is falling. He called himself a dictator. He slipped up. You know how have you seen that? What is her name? That black woman from California she gets up there, 45, impeach 45. Waters is her name, Waters. You know, you see that video the other day where they had her and she was saying that they were looking for everything, and she said, they're going to catch us all. They're going to find out what all of us have, or something like that. Caught her. Well, here's another similar situation. Is that Harpe messed up and called himself a dictator. He called himself a dictator on accident and quickly corrected to director. Maybe we should start calling him the dictator. He says he is going to listen to staff complaints, but if staff are negative, that's not meet standards on your PMP. So catch it, Bob. Okay, director, listen up now. This may be a big part of your problem. You're going to go out and visit all these prisons, and you're going to talk to all the staff and take your little notes on what's wrong. But if anybody tells you what's wrong, you're going to write them up on their PMP.
Well, it's okay.
Do you see what's wrong with that, director? You can't be that stupid. You can't be that stupid that you would get on video and say, we want to hear from you. We want you to tell us what's wrong. But if you complain now, if you tell us what's wrong, we're going to make sure we put that on your PMP and make sure we fire you or you don't get a raise. How about that, Bob?
That's crazy. But, JJ, when you take a look at what's happened the last 3 years, we have I can think of one warden who's probably, I'm not going to say he's the best warden, but he's up there with the top. And he's pretty hard. He's hardcore. But when you go to his prisons, as you very well know, probably who I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about.
Always in line. I mean, he does a good job of keeping his prison going and keep it right. And you got to give him credit. He is one of the top wardens. Then you got another one that was very well liked at that OHP. I mean, at Harpe, Pettigrew. So now you got another guy who was very well liked. He let him go. Is he upset because people like other people rather than liking him? I mean, it's kind of a pattern going here.
Bob, let me tell you what the pattern I see. When you see something happen again and again and again. So the pattern that I see is people around him who actually have on-the-job experience. I mean, boots on the ground. And you can have different philosophies. So let me give you an example. Jim Ferris was probably as a strong person as you want to meet. He is do it my way, get it done. I want this done and get it done. Okay. And he ain't going to argue with you. Now, Rudek is kind of the very opposite of that. Hey, can we sit down and talk? And here's what I need you to do and all this. So we have two guys kind of opposite ends of the pole that were working in this same position. Guess what? Both of them get fired. Or no, Jim did get fired. Let me correct that. Jim did get fired. He resigned. But again, the deal is, why would he resign? He wouldn't resign if everything was good. he's resigning because he can't hardly stand to work for the man, I would assume. Now, Jim hadn't told me that.
It was very well liked as a warden.
So, but here's the thing. With the thing that I want to say is again, I don't know all the details why Jim left. He may have got a better job. I don't know. But my point is, you got two people sitting in that job that are complete opposite in personality and how they go after doing the job. But both of them good guys. Both of them have experience. And yet, guess what? They're gone because they can't work for this man. And guess what? If you look at Pettigrew, if you look at everybody else that has experience, that have boots on the ground, real life experience, what's he doing with those people?
Some of our wardens haven't been there more than a year.
That's because he's run off everybody. There's a guy that worked up there, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, that was right under Ferris. He was right under Ferris. Good as guys you want to meet, and that was under Justin Ferris. Good as guys you want to meet. When Harpe come in there, Harpe wasn't there just a minute. That guy resigned. He quit because he just left. He was in good standing. Wasn't nothing wrong. He left because he couldn't work for a man like Harpe. People are leaving. The people who have real experience are jumping off the ship. And what you got wardens who will not say anything to him, or they have not enough experience to say, and you're seeing our prisons become a disaster because we have people in the upper executive branch that, Bob, how much experience you think in let's say it wasn't Sharp, it was Sparks, and Bob, there was a lot of people kind of come in behind you. I looked at my phone and several people text me and said, Bob's right. And I was like, oh, that hurt really bad. But Sparks, now, Justin Ferris does have experience. Justin Ferris did work in a prison for a while, and then he's been around OCP.
He's been around a long time. He knows what's going on.
For a long time. Justin knows corrections, okay? Now, he doesn't know, but I will tell you this, Bob, I don't know prisons, as well as people who worked in there. Now, I've been in and out of them and back and forth, and I worked down there for about 2 years. Me and Justin have about the same experience as far as being actually working in prisons. But now I was in a job where I went and worked in prisons off and on quite frequently. So I got a little experience. Plus I went to mediums. Plus I went to maximums. Plus I went to minimums. Worked work centers. I've handled the variety of it a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit of it. But what I'm saying, Bob, is you have no. What does what is that word K uses? Institutional knowledge. Institutional knowledge. Like Kay and Harpe have got something in lines of institutional knowledge. You couldn't fill up a thimble on what both them knew. You know what I'm saying? It's insane. So the thing about it is, you've got everybody either quitting, getting fired, leaving for whatever reason, and you're left with, Bob, I'd really like to know in his top 3 staff, 4 or 5 staff, you go 4 or 5 down, and, get his wardens. He was
Tommy Sharp. You did look at Tommy Sharp. He got fired.
Sharp got fired, and they brought him back.
They brought him back. He's just like his number 2 guy. He's the one that's going around to the prisons, talking to the shop callers and working the deals out with them. But JJ, I don't get, because he's firing also people who's got like 19, 20 years. He seems like he doesn't want people that's been there very long, that knows what they're doing. It really makes no rhyme or reason with what he's doing. He's in the wrong position. He's not a leader. A leader doesn't do the things he does. He's not a leader. Has no. I'm sure he has some intelligence. I don't think he's as dumb as as the way he's leading the Department of Corrections. But here we go we don't have enough officers. We're threatening officers now. Right now, we're already threatening them if they don't go to a certain place to work. What is that place? What's the prison is that?
Alan Gamble.
Allen Gamble. They're going to make them go there and work, and they're forcing them and then bad mouthing the officers completely like they're a bunch of idiots.
Well, they're going back to 512s.
Going back to 512. They've tried. It was said all along it wasn't going to work.
Well, here's the problem, Bob. When you got 80% capacity, why do you need to go to 512s? You got 80%, employees. What's up? So
yeah, they're going to quit. He keeps everybody. He's such a very knowledgeable person of the facilities. But it's really interesting. It's just funny. Here he's been there 3 years now, and now he's decided he's going to start going to the prisons.
Right.
Talking to the guys.
There's a lot of things funny. It says he admitted to kitchen and canteen, and background investigators are probably going to be outsourced. Now, here's what's funny, Bob. Governor Stitt and Harpe, man, they rag on private prisons. They go rag on private prisons. And then they turn around, and now we're going to have to buy this prison, which is stupid. If we're less than a year away when that all happened. So less than a year, you're over here talking smack, and now you're going to have to buy. You have no foreknowledge. Anybody could see that. You know what I'm saying? You better shut up and treat them nicely. But now we cuss privatization. We go by Allen Gamble. We're getting out of privatization. But what is he doing? Privatization. So we're not going to have private prisons, but we're going to have private everything. So how long is it till he outsources the correctional officers and he starts contracting with some company to just do correctional officers?
I can tell you one place he's not going to do anything with. That's OCI.
Well, I mean, here's the deal. The first place he ought to be doing something with is OCI.
But he won't do anything with OCI because that's money.
Well, he might haul a bottle of whiskey over there and leave it, drop it off, at the outside the gates. Bob, he wouldn't take it inside the prison.
But JJ, here we're talking about buying a prison, and we don't have enough people now to handle the prisons we got, but yet we're going to go buy a prison with. I don't think he thinks this thing through.
Well, Bob, I do want to say that if a certain person is listening, that I had said that that's a 60-year-old prison, and I got corrected, so it's not 60-year-old, it's closer to 30-year-old. So again,
let's be specific. It's 27.
Well, Bob, I was trying to round up and make myself look halfway good. Okay, 27. So me and Bob and a couple of others were in a discussion. I said, Lord, we're going to give $314 million for a 60-year-old prison. He goes, it ain't 60-year-old, it's 27. But can I get a witness, Bob? Now, 27 ain't old when you're a man or woman.
That's old for prison.
That's pretty old for prison. When you're looking at
$312 million.
14, Bob.
Oh, excuse me, 14. 300.
I needed a chance to correct.
Now, I would like to know this. Where did that come from? Did we put somebody over there go evaluate it, what it is, or this is the number that?
That's what's funny, Bob. I have not seen, and I'm about as active on this stuff. Of course, they're all mad at me. Now, I will tell you, the Capitol is mad at me, and that's okay with me. But the thing about it is, you're supposed to get bids. How do you know what this prison's worth? And of course, that may just be them saying that's all we're going to take for it. You know what I mean? That may be them saying you can have it or don't have it. Get out if you don't like. If you don't like it, get out. And so again, they put themselves in a position. And again, Bob, I wonder. I'm so paranoid. I'm a paranoid individual. So do they do that because they got some kind of hook cook scheme going on? I mean, surely they can't be. we were having this discussion, and a lot of people told me that I give them too much credit because, you know, I'm no big fan of Harpe. I don't like Harpe. I think Harpe's an evil type of person. But at the same time, I don't call him stupid. Well, I may say a lot of things he does is stupid. I don't, but I think he's at least smart. You know, Bob, I at least like to think he's smart enough not to do this kind of stupid. And I just kind of wonder, is there some back alley deal that I'm missing? What's going on? And especially when I see them, you know, privates, terrible privates, we're getting out of private. We'll spend all these millions to get out of private, and then we'll turn right around and do what? Privatize. That right there, what in the world? I mean, what in the world's going on?
I wonder if he had to have legislature approval to do that.
Well, you know, Bob, I've raised Cain with them on the fact that they're supposed to have legislative approval to get their office. I think they're spending $100,000 a month on their office. I pulled up the statute that says they do have to have legislative approval, turned that into our leadership. In fact, they wouldn't even let me ask the questions on that at the budget meeting, but I turned it all in, and everybody's ignored me. But according to the statute, I think they do.
Well, it will take years to get things going good on the right track. The number of people that's been killed in prison, murdered under his watch is astronomical. We've never had that happen before.
Right.
The drugs coming in. I had a guy tell me who's been in prison for 14 years. He got out. He told me that all the time he was there, the last 2.5 years, he said that he just never seen anything like the drugs they have coming in there. They said it's flooded.
Well, Bob, now what's funny is, you know, you mentioned it a while ago, well, Sharp, and we get them. Sparks is right under the director, and Sharp's a little ways under, and going around to all these facilities. And so Sharp goes in and meets with a lot of these shot callers because shot callers are running the prison under them. Shot callers are running the prison. And, you know, if you listen to people, Sharp is, you know, and you know this, Bob, you know this. I like Sharp. We've had a lot of discussions. I like Sharp. He was a warden down here where I was at. I liked him. And I think he could have handled the minimum. He didn't handle good, but he could handle it. But when you take him out of more than a minimum, he loses it. And so, anyways, he's kind of scared of his own shadow, according to people I'm talking about. And so, what's happening is the drugs have went crazy. The drugs have went crazy. Drugs are coming in like nobody's business, and you know, what is that? What is that drug, Bob? Have you heard of ketamine? Is it ketamine?
No.
So ketamine is a, if I'm not mistaken, that y'all have to check me out on this. Ketamine is what they use when they're going to knock you out to do surgery on you. So anesthesiologists use ketamine, and apparently, from what I hear, is if you abuse ketamine, you can actually kind of have hallucinogenics and all that kind of stuff. Now, you know, now, and I do want people to check me out on that to see if I'm right. I may not be right on my drugs, but I was actually told the other day that they are getting ketamine into the prisons. Bob, you know, wow, fentanyl, ketamine, K2. I mean, it's just out of control.
I thought K2 was the number one item they have brought in.
Well, you know, you got K2, you got methamphetamine, all of it. Here's the deal, Bob. All of these drugs are getting laced with fentanyl. Now, since Trump's took over, we're going to see the border already is being shut down. We're going to see the illegal fentanyl being, you know, reduced. And so you should see the number of deaths stop being so greatly.
Hey, JJ, I was trying to think of this. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no, that's okay.
on that young man, was his name Ross? Okay.
McQuail.
What is
Ross.
it?
McQuail, Ross.
That's the right name?
M-A-R-I-L.
That's the guy, the little short guy that got in trouble. Okay. The family got a word from an inmate, another inmate. He's been killed.
Right.
Okay, they call, and would they call DLC and get a date when it happened at that time?
Here's what happened. The inmate family called their family. So an inmate at OSP calls his family. That family member calls this guy's family member, says, you better check, your inmate's dead. They call and get a hold of the funeral home that handles the prisons. And that's out of Choctaw over there. They call, they're about to cremate this inmate. They stop the cremation. They call OSP and say, what happened? They tell him he died on the 17th. They're making arrangements to get the body back to Muskogee where they're going to have the funeral. While dealing with the funeral home, they find out that they've had the body since the 12th. So all this happened September, since the 12th. Now, here's what's amazing is that a third-party contractor that I think handles canteen or something emails on the 13th and says the inmate's going to higher security. So one, here you have him dying the 12th. They close out the file. So he's closed out. So now how does their third-party contractor end up contacting them? I guess it could happen. Nobody notified them. It's possible. But the question is, they're saying that they had spent from the 12th to the 19th trying to contact the family, could make no contact. But their contractor, the third-party contractor, had no problem contacting them. They emailed them. I got the emails from the family. So how does somebody working for DLC have straight emails going to them, but yet DLC has no possible way to contact them and can't find a way in 9 days? Why didn't they call the third-party contractor and go, y'all got to wait for contact these? But they didn't do anything for 9 days. And then when they called him, they lied about the day that he died. Oh, no, he's only been dead 2 days.
DLC lied.
DLC lied. They gave me the name of the person who said that. Again, everything they said has been documented. They're credible. The department, liars.
Now, DLC made a big deal out of the reason he didn't get out of prison when he was supposed to, because he had done so many bad things and he had so many
assaulting officer. Now, here's what's funny, Bob. Attempting to assault an officer. What is that? Attempting. I guess he bowed up and said, hey, and they call that attempt. I call that, bowing up. Expressions, bad expressions. Yeah. But again, they wrote him up for attempting, I think.
Okay, but Judge, what I'm getting at is I wanted to find out, because I read this article that Harpe put out. He doesn't mention anything in his article about the misunderstanding on the days he died with the family and what they told them, calling the funeral home, finding out the date. Doesn't mention that. He just wants to mention that all that you didn't really know what you was talking about when you said he should have got out. But you didn't know about all the other incidents either. And what's interesting about it, I don't deny him. I don't know whether he did or didn't do it, but I know looking at the guy's record, which I did, he doesn't have anything outside of his arrest. He wasn't in a gang.
He got no prior record, so how did he become such a bad boy when he comes to prison?
That's what I've wondered that, what was the deal? And then they put him into a cell with a pretty mean guy.
Well, Bob, here's the bottom line. If he spit on an officer, if you're working for me and somebody spits on you, guess what? We're going to get felony charges filed on them. We are going to get felony charges. And if we move you to OSP, so be it. Because guess what? I would not tolerate assaults on officers. Now, first of all, I requested that they give me records in September, and they would not give me records. So if they had all of these records, now, Bob, I want to remind you that you can go into any courthouse and you can see any assaults, any records of any arrest. So why is something that happens out here in the public not confidential, but something that happens in prison confidential? So let me say this to you, Mr. Harpe. You're a moron, if you think that that's going to hold. Okay. So first of all, I asked them, I am in their executive command. I asked them for that record, could not get it. I had to do an open request, a formal open request, had a lawyer prepare it, sent it October 22nd. Guess when I get it back?
When?
I got it back January 8th. So again, this takes
That's pretty good. You got it back in only less than 3 months.
Yeah, that's unbelievable that it only takes me a couple of months, almost 3 months to get it, you know. So 3 months roughly. But yet we had a freshman representative who had at the time hadn't had not one day as a representative yet. He was elected, he was sworn in, but he had not served one day at this time. And they give it to him. He had it. He put out a response, a rebuttal to the press conference saying, well, JJ don't know this. Well, the reason I don't know it's because they wouldn't tell it. So how do they give it to one representative, but they don't give it? At the time, I was still chairman of corrections. So again, here you are, chairman of corrections. They won't give it to you, but they give it to this freshman over here who hadn't even done one day. Now, I did already know their stuff, but here's the deal, Bob. That's what they say. They didn't file charges. If it's not serious enough to file charges. And then the other thing, can I go in and find other inmates who have done much greater assaults and who have records like unbelievable, and they assault an officer and they do nothing with them? They just leave them right there. So how is it that they chose this one over those? And how is it that he ends up there? And again, how did they choose placement?
Well, how could they get the date wrong when he died? And why were they just incompetent? Is it?
Bob, if you remember this, you remember in September, we could go back and look at our videos. In September, we got a call that an officer went by a cell, that the guy in the cell said, hey, my celly's dead. The officer kept going past the cell, went on and counted every cell, comes back, sits down in control, sits there for a while, and then goes, oh, by the way, that guy says that his celly's dead. One of the other officers gets up, goes out there and checks, and sure enough, the guy's dead. Well, I find it coincidence that all that happened right around the same week. That was all in the same week.
Yeah.
I'm going to bet you money that was this murder. And again, I'm going to bet you, because I've looked at the report of what was written, and they don't say that. They say she went past, the guy hollers, she goes back. So again, it's too similar to what we've heard, that she goes back and then they do it right then. That's not what we were told by numerous correctional officers.
Who was there? Who was there? Hey, let me bring your attention to something. When each month we take money out of payroll for our dues for OCP, $15, and been doing this for 12, 13 years maybe, and we get a list of membership of who all are members. Well, Harpe will stop me from getting the list of members, so I can't reconcile with the amount. I can't take the number of people we show as officers, show as members, times 15. I can't check to see if they got these new members in that I've turned in. I don't have a sheet and they won't give it to me. And also, they're not paying us the right amount of money. They're shorting us every month. They're shorting us on each individual officer is like $1.50, I think, each month.
Well, Bob, that turns in pretty good money.
And I've complained about it a year or so ago. I just gave up on that too because it doesn't just go into deaf ears. I mean, you only do it so many times that they're just not going to work with you and not do anything. Now, Harpe won't work with me. He won't take my calls. He won't talk to me. He's trying to get rid of OCP. Everything he can do, he can try to get rid of us. Whereas the biggest thing he does when we beat him in the courts, in the Oklahoma courts or the jail TOC, what's it called?
Service court.
I'm sorry.
Civil service.
Civil service. Okay, we went in there. He appeals to the next one. We went in there again. He appeals. Well, that's costing us more money for a lawyer. He knows this. So now he goes out and gets him a $450 lawyer to represent him in the state court. $500 to represent him in the state courts. Again, costing us more money. He knows what he's doing. And he's doing this because it's not his money. It's taxpayers' money. And the governor is even allowing it to happen. And the attorney general allowed him to go out and hire these. He's got 3 lawyers they've already in-house, but they can't handle these cases. They're losing. So now he goes and hires them.
Now, I'm finding out I got an inquiry into the AG. Did he allow that? Because that's, we know that everybody else knows it, but again, did the AG approve it? Because what I understand, Bob, is the AG actually has to approve that. And if that is true, why are they approving these $500 lawyers on bullcrap? You know, okay, if you got a case that some guy had a heart attack or some guy had some medical and you need a medical expert, somebody who can handle that. Okay, if you had an expert case or some massive $1 billion lawsuit where you needed some $500 hour, lawyers, okay, I can see outsourcing on a couple of things. But where you have we fired somebody and we're going to court, that's why you have general counsel. If we're not going to let general counsel handle those kind of frivolous deals, it ain't frivolous if you lost your job. But what I'm saying is it's frivolous to them because they don't even come prepared. Bob,
but JJ, let me ask you a question. I'm just speculating out, but he quit letting me have the membership list. Well, is that the same time that they started not taking out the correct amount of money each month?
Bob, we need to go back and check on that. I included you on my lawsuit because, hey, they came in and told me, I just want people to know this. The director himself and 2 other people came in and sat down with me and told me I could either kick OCP to the curb, and if I would, then I could hang tight with them and we could stay in and I could work with them. If I would not kick OCP to the curb, and let me tell you something, they specifically mentioned Bob, but Bob is the director. Bob is not OCP. Let me tell you who OCP is. OCP is you, the employee. And I can tell you this, I told him I wouldn't kick Bob to the curb, and I also told him I wouldn't kick you to the curb. And again, that's part of the reason that we've started having this war between me and Harpe. That's the reason, is because he does not want anything to do with an association that can actually hold him accountable and make him answer to the legislators who can go between him and you and the legislators and advocate for you. He does not want that. So what he's tried to do is he has tried to systematically, he sat right there and said that Scott Everson was too stupid to know what they was doing and that they would use Scott Everson to go around Bob and get control of OCP. And guess what? I'm not saying that to be mean to you, Scott. I'm saying you got played and you got used, and they used you. And they've tried to destroy OCP. They've tried to intimidate people not to join. They've tried to threaten. They've tried to stop the membership. They tried to shut us out of knowing how many people we've got on there. Now we're finding out they've tried to take your money. And again, you think that I'm filing a lawsuit. All of that is in my lawsuit. I did not have the money part, but I'll go back in and put the money part that it appears like they're taking this money. And
Well,
again,
that's not even the worst of it. The worst of it is I got a letter from OMS a few months ago, and it says that OCP owes them back $90. They were giving me some money that they shouldn't have, which is true. I've said about this for a long time. I've said something about it. I get a $6.92 check twice a month. And you know who? One of them is like Corporation Commission, Attorney General, different agencies. That is theirs. It's not mine. So their payroll department is a disaster if they cannot even keep that straight.
I agree. They can't keep anything straight. In fact, Bob, we're getting a text right now saying that one person who's looking at retiring has went in and asked them to calculate their retirement 4 different times and have received 4 different answers on every time they went. Hey guys, if you got a problem like that, let me know. Call my office, call me. And again, what I will do is send over and say, hey, we want an answer to what this person can't retire. If you can't give them a straight answer, I've got a similar deal on an inmate where calculating time. They've sent them. They've asked them to do 3 different things. They've done all 3. The family's got the judgment sentence changed 3 times, and I'll kiss your butt. Today, the inmate's still not getting that time. Hey, Director, if you keep an inmate past time.
Okay, JJ, but I want to get this in here. He called me into his office when he first took over, told me he had no problem with me. Nothing wrong with you. This is not personal, but I don't like OCP. I don't like unions, and I'm going to try to destroy you. That's what he wanted. That's what he said. And now don't call me. I won't respond to you. And then he goes around and telling people, oh, well, Bob, Cleveland won't work with me. Cleveland won't work with me. I never got a chance to work with him. He lied. I think in your little conversation, if I'm not mistaken, did he not make that comment that I wouldn't work with him?
No, he said he just didn't want to work with you, is what he told me.
Yeah, okay, he didn't want to work with me.
He just said, hey, I'm not going to work with him. And, he acted like there wasn't nothing personal between y'all two. To me, he just said, I'm not going to work with him. And I told him, I said, you've never tried to work with him. You ain't never made an attempt to work with him. So how would you know? And that was kind of our conversation. And again, Bob,
well, he just didn't like OCP. He didn't like what it stands for. He thought it was a union. I told him we were not a union. We cannot have unions in Oklahoma under this situation, and that we were there as a voice for the employees. He said, they don't need a voice. I'll be their voice. They can come and see me anytime. I got an open door policy. You can come and see me if you got any problems. We don't need you.
And ain't nobody. Everybody tried to go see him. He saw none of the people I know that's asked to go see him. I know people put in.
But he wouldn't work with me from the day one, and he wants to act like it's all my fault that I wouldn't work with him. But I've been able to work with 3 other directors without an issue. But
I don't know if the viewers are watching are all OCP members, but you need to be. But I'm gonna tell you another thing. If y'all are watching in New York, go pull up New York. This stuff is going on in New York. If you ain't been paying attention, you pull up your news stations. You pull up, go on Google, pull this up. Hey, these officers are sick of it. They're standing up. They're walking out. They're demanding better pay, better situations, more better. Yeah, they're demanding. When you're looking at this, it's like, well, I guess we're not the only ones got all these same problems, but ours are mainly one individual. Now, yes, we've got a shortage. Yes, it's if anybody knew what they were doing, I think they could come in and help build that shortage back. But you're going to have confidence. That's the number one thing. You're going to have all your employees.
It's not building the shortage back up. It's keeping the people you got. You treat them respectfully, you'll keep people. But you don't want to treat them respectfully. You want to bully them.
Bob, your best recruiter for you is your employees. and you're
JJ, we're gonna have to cut her off, buddy. We went too quick today.
Bob,
show.
we got 2 more minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
2 more minutes, Bob. No, I'm
Well,
good. I'm good.
We'll go back. We'll go back.
Everybody and quit on time. How about that, Bob?
Well, but the point is, it's not so much as it's retention, keeping people. They get people quit constantly.
But they don't go out and ask or go out and tell, hey, their kid, you ought to come to work here. It's a great place. No, they're saying, don't come to work here. When your employees are telling people, don't come to work, you get less people. When your employees are going, come on, come get, I want my kid to go to work. I want my friends. I want my family. Come go to work. Guess what? Then you see, and corrections is a family. If you look at McAllister, if you look at Howard McLeod, Mac Alford, you will see a lot of family and community people because that's established. Right now, you're seeing all those people who used to think that's the greatest job say, I don't want to work here, you know.
Well, JJ, thank you for coming in today. I appreciate it. I know you got feeding your cows and interrupt you, but I appreciate it and appreciate all of you out there that are looking in. You got any questions at all, give us a call. We're here to help you. We're here to be your voice that you don't have, and we'll do whatever we can. But we remember one thing, we're basically working against the director and the governor, and the governor is letting the director do whatever he wants to do. And I guess the director goes over and makes stories up, and I can't believe that the governor is not a little smarter than this, that he can't see or hear what's going on. But anyway, hey, I appreciate everybody. We'll catch you next week.